Good day, everyone. It's Carrie from PhotoBook pHaNaTiC, and I'm here to talk about a very important PhotoBook design technique called randomizing. In this video, I'm going to talk about what randomizing is, why it is important, and of course, give several examples so you can see firsthand what I'm talking about. And as I do this initial discussion, I'm going to flip through some example PhotoBook pages so you can get a feel for my designs. And please note that I have cut and pasted these example pages onto a slideshow, and some pages come from PhotoBooks that are square-shaped, and others were copied from PhotoBooks that are rectangle-shaped, so you might see a white border either horizontally or vertically along the edge of the PhotoBook page. Please ignore the white borders. This is not part of the design. Now, this video is devoted to just the process of randomizing, but I have other PhotoBook pHaNaTiC YouTube videos on the design techniques of aesthetics and engagement that you can also check out. They give lots of information and a bunch of awesome examples, or you can always watch my introductory video to get a general understanding of all of these concepts. And if you're a Shutterfly fan like myself, then I want to let you know that I have PhotoBook page recipe videos on YouTube. What is a recipe video? Well, these videos reveal the exact background, frame color, embellishments, and font style, color, and size so you can duplicate the design into your PhotoBook. In fact, let me show you the designs I currently have, one of which includes this beach theme. I have this outdoorsy theme, which is great for hiking, camping, backpacking, or even scouting events. Happy New Year. I have a recipe for this beautiful historical vintage theme, which is in a rich navy red and white color combination that would also work well for Father's Day or 4th of July. This turquoise and yellow flower theme. And one of my personal favorites, this is a table of contents page for a vacation photo book. I have 8 photos that highlight the different activities we did, and each is labeled with their name and corresponding page number. A table of contents is an awesome way to start your photo book because this is the very first page, and it's kind of an oddball being by itself since it's opposite to the cover page. And I often find it is difficult to do events of just a single page. Plus, this showcases topics to be discovered by the reader, so they look forward to it and become engaged. Okay, let me get back to the discussion on randomizing. It's time to talk about the what and the why about randomizing, and then I'll show you some specific examples. So if you have already watched my introductory video, you will know that I mentioned randomizing as a way to get reader interest, because when you're designing PhotoBook pages, your intent is to make a connection between the reader and the people or the event that is in the photographs. In this manner, people like your children, grandchildren, and relatives get a mini experience just from reading your PhotoBook. And this mini experience becomes a memory for them, with the PhotoBook being the reference. It's kind of like when you read a really good book. The story, the characters, their interactions, they live in your memories for a long time. And an amazing book will live in your memories forever. Well, your PhotoBook can do that too, and that is why design is so important. But what exactly is randomizing? You know how it is often said we are creatures of habit? Well, this is so true when we're exposed to new things. As soon as we encounter something new, we immediately try to make sense of it by comparing it to things we already know, something we are familiar with. We're trying to figure out where this new thing fits into the realm of our pre-existing experiences. So new, unusual, and unique things make us really think and ponder, and by doing this, we develop a deeper experience than with something we have already seen before. So how does this relate to PhotoBook page design? Well, let's say you consistently use the coordinating designs from one Shutterfly PhotoBook theme throughout the entire book. Initially, the reader will have an interest and engagement as they experience the first few pages. But as they continue through the book and encounter a redundancy in the design, the reader's experience loses potency because the design is no longer new or unusual. So they lose interest, they're no longer engaged, and then they miss out on the experience. Let's look into some examples so you can see what I'm talking about. Starting off, we have a PhotoBook page that is designed with some pretty aesthetics. A magenta, purple, and mauve color combination complements the clothing on the lady and the girls, and the coordinating flower and petal embellishments add a soft touch and complement the cute hillside villas. That was all about aesthetics, and if you'd like more information specifically on that technique, be sure to watch my PhotoBook design technique YouTube video on aesthetics. Okay, so let's flip through the pages dedicated to this event, and you can tell that they all coordinate well with each other, but at the same time, the placement of the photos and embellishments is different on each page. They are not identical, and this is done to promote randomizing. So now I flip to the end of that event, and I immediately notice a completely different design theme. Red, beige, and gray. This is much bolder than the previous event. And because there is such a difference in this design from the previous design, right away the reader takes notice that there's been a change. Something is new. What is going on? Well, this is a new event, so it is an entirely new experience. The change in design grabs the reader's attention. They recognize that there is something different and unique, so they slow down to try and understand what's going on. Their interest is piqued, and they start looking at the pictures and text for clues as to what the new change is all about. And hopefully, this newfound interest will lead to engagement. Just so you know, in general, I do about 6 to 8 pages maximum of a particular design theme, and then I change it. Let's look at another example. We have a pink-blue color theme with a coordinating flower ribbon. As I turn through this event, you will again notice the same design elements are present, but are used in a different way. Also notice that the photo placement is different, so it increases the randomness of the pages and promotes interest. So the reader remains engaged. But after 8 pages of this, bam, whoa, what is this? It's a completely different design. Different colors, different embellishments. Why did I do this? Because this is a completely different event. These photos focus on feeding the koi fish. Now, in actuality, the photos from this design and the previous design were taken at the same location. But if I had continued to use the same pink-blue flower theme, the reader would get bored by the time they reached the koi fish pages, and then the event would not register as something new or different. Keeping the same design elements wouldn't have any impact on the reader. They would be tuned out and lose the experience, which would be a real shame. Okay, so now that you can appreciate the importance of changing the design, I want to talk about randomizing in terms of photo placement and arrangement. Remember, the more unique or random the design, the more interesting it will be to the reader, which increases the chances that the reader will engage with the content and develop an experience with it. So how do I make photo placement and arrangement random? Well, let me tell you what to avoid. You know those layouts and templates offered on the Shutterfly website? Most of them have perfectly parallel and perpendicular photo boxes, and they have precisely the same distance between the photo and the edge of the paper. Well, this type of photo placement is a pattern, and what's wrong with that? Well, the problem with patterning is that our brains recognizes patterns immediately. And once this occurs, we lose focus because patterns are predictable and boring. So our brain doesn't recognize it as new or important. And since it's not interesting, the reader never becomes engaged, and then they never have an experience. So it's like wasted time. The lesson here, avoid the stock layouts and templates and do it your own way. Select the group of photos you want to put on a page, analyze them for things like orientation, dead space, and seriousness. Don't worry, I'm going to talk about this in just a second. Hang in there. And then you place those pictures accordingly in an arrangement that is meaningful and tastefully done. Now, I will admit that there is one exception to the rule of randomizing and picture placement, and I promise to show you that at the end of this video, because that exception is actually a really neat way to show motion. On a quick side note, randomizing is not just about picture placement. Embellishments like photo corners, overlay frames, and stickers should also be varied and eclectically placed. What do I mean by that? Well, don't put the same photo corner on every corner. If you have several photos on the page, don't put the photo corner on the same corner of every photo, because if you do that, you're making a pattern. Add a double frame in a coordinating color to one of the photos, but not the others. All right, let's get started with an example, and we're going to look straight off the Shutterfly website. Here's 4 photos from the same beach event. This is the most basic layout template available, but there are several reasons why this photo placement is not desirable from a randomizing standpoint. Number 1, all the photos are the same exact size. So if you think one photo is more important or has more meaning than the others, that will not be conveyed to the reader with the current placement. Problem number 2 is that the photos are all lined up horizontally across the page. Readers are already conditioned to scan their eyes from left to the right, and this setup allows them to do that easily, so they finish the page quickly. Let's take it up a notch. Same photos, different template. This is actually a 2-page spread, meaning that the photo images can bridge the gap of the spine. This is a better option than the page we were just analyzing for a couple of reasons. First is that the photos are different orientations. Some are landscape and some are portrait, so that adds to the uniqueness. The photos are different sizes, which can work well if you add emphasis to a particular image. You'll notice that the images on the far left and the far right extend all the way to the edge of the page. So the photo only has a border on 3 sides. This creates a lot of interest for the reader because without the border, the reader's imagination kicks in and they wonder what the rest of the image is like. Also, if you look at the arrangement, the photos are no longer perfectly horizontal. As you scan from left to right, the images start in the upper left, they go across, then down, and they move to the right. So all of these differences are a positive tick for randomizing and building reader interest. But what if I used size, different orientation, and photos without borders to the extreme? Here's what you would get. But this is not engaging because with the photos taking up nearly the entire space of the album, you're missing the opportunity for embellishments and text that would engage the reader. But let's get away from templates and try to do it on our own. Let's go back to the previous page. These are the original 4 images and nothing has been cropped, so you're seeing the full photo. Now, on both this page and the other one, the photos were standing individually, meaning that I did not layer them on top of each other. Why would I want to layer them? Well, it is more random and more interesting to the reader. How do I do that? You need to look for dead space. Well, what is that? Dead space is part of the photo that is not important, so if you covered it with another image or placed a text box in the area, it would not impact the meaning of the photo. It's almost like wasted space. There are 2 photos here that have a decent dead space. Take a look and what do you think? It's the crab image and the running girl. Let's say that you want to make the crab picture your big, impactful picture for the photo page. Go ahead and enlarge it. And like I mentioned earlier, it is okay if it goes all the way to the edge. It really makes a big statement that way. Then with the dead space in the bottom left corner, I can use that space to place one of my other photos. So I have a photo on photo design. Then for my other 2 photos, we'll put them off to the right. And I will adjust these for both shape and size that complements the photos. And you could come up with something like this. There is still room to design and add text for engagement, but wow, is this more interesting than when the 4 photos are just lined up. Size, shape, and arrangement are completely different. Let me show you another variation of this same page. Here I still have the crab photo as my large image, but then I moved the rest of the photos off to the right. In the dead space, I decided to put a quote about the sea. Doesn't that look professional? All right, but what if I wanted the running girl to be my main photo? Let's place her in the middle with the other photos off to the side. And if I work with it, I could get something like this. How about that? Another great page with photo size, shape, and placement, very random. And there's a nice quote to spark some emotions. Also, we have some room to add text or commentary about the event. All right, I'm about out of time here, but I want to show you 2 more things really quickly. If you were paying attention and you have a great memory, you will remember that I mentioned there is one time when you can line photos up horizontally to show change in motion. Well, here it is an example of that. We have a girl jumping into the water, and the benefit of the identical shape, size, and horizontal orientation is that we can quickly scan across the photos and see the action happening. Here's another example. We have a girl coming down a water slide. And last, another hint about randomizing and photo placement. If you have an image that is silly or comical, I like to convey humor by tilting the image, like this image with the girls laughing. And this page that has a fish with a word bubble. It is a way to bring emotion to the page just by arranging the image. Okay, everyone, that's all I've got on randomizing for now, but please check out my other PhotoBook pHaNaTiC videos. Remember, randomizing is just one of the 3 design technique YouTube videos I created. Don't forget that aesthetics and engagement are also super important. And those recipe videos are a real treat to make an awesome PhotoBook page without starting from scratch. This is Carrie from PhotoBook pHaNaTiC saying thanks for watching and goodbye for now.